my last episode, I taught you how to draw like Da Vinci. In this one, we're tackling Michelangelo. One Ninja Turtle at a time.
So who was Michelangelo? He was a famous Renaissance artist, most known for the Statue of David and the Sistine Chapel ceiling. All right, so as you probably know, Michelangelo is one of the most famous artists from the Renaissance period, but he didn't really consider himself a painter. He considered himself to be a sculptor. So why did he paint the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel if he wasn't a painter? And the short answer is because the Pope asked him to do it, and you can't really say no to the Pope. One thing about Michelangelo is he was a master of the male muscular figure. Like, just look at these hands. It's beautiful. He sometimes gets critiqued though because his female forms were also kind of muscular, and they were like, oh, you're not capturing femininity, blah, blah, blah. But you know me, nothing wrong with a muscular woman. I think that's totally cool. So the thing is, when you do one thing and you do it well, you repeat your successes and you end up doing much of the same. It's kind of like how a music artist gets famous for pop music, and so he only makes pop music. Even if we look at the Statue of David that he did and we compare it to this face of Adam from the Sistine Chapel, if I draw a line around it and we overlay it on top, you can kind of see that the two share forms. It's because they have the same idealized nose, round eyes, even the earlobe that's disconnected, and the strong jaw, the pouty lips, everything. It's a way of perfection that Michelangelo saw, and so therefore he recreated these forms of perfection in his masculine characters. I think that Michelangelo is a great person to study if you want to learn to draw the masculine figure and form and volume and do it very well. So what I'm doing here is I'm getting a sense of the proportions and things that I've noticed Michelangelo carried out between the painting of Adam and the Statue of David, because there are some things that he repeats. If I notice it's something that he does in both of these works, then I know it's something that is characteristic of Michelangelo, and therefore that's something I want to pay attention to. For example, the eyes. Like, his eyes are so expressive and so round and so formed. And so that's something I'm going to spend a lot of time trying to figure out. So eye muscles. Also, he has this straight nose, sculptural volume around his whole figure, chin to neck connection. He doesn't tuck it in like a lot of people do. Low forehead, so you can see there's not much space between the hairline and the eyebrows. He has non-connecting earlobes, and yeah, some people actually do have connecting earlobes, myself among them. He has thick, muscled necks. He doesn't let his characters have chicken necks. His cheekbone to jowl connection is very manly and strong, and that's something that I know I need to practice with, so I'm going to spend a lot of attention trying to make sure I don't fall back into bad habits as I'm doing this. here I am slowly, very steadily sculpting out his mouth formations and his lips. And there's actually something not quite right about this, so I'm gonna go back in and fix that later on. But the chin, so the chin is very emphasized. It's kind of like a round shape. And then see that little corner at the end of the mouth? That is the smile lines, basically. And you have to make sure to add a shadow if that particular person has very defined smile lines. And here I'm going in and doing things like the tear duct and the highlight coming from the bridge of the nose to the corner of the eye, doing the cheekbone and the little area of the jaw that kind of comes straight down from the ear. Tip of the nose, don't want it to be too much in shadow or else it looks like he just rubbed his nose in dirt. And just kind of like slowly building up these forms, making sure that the sculpt is something kind of like what Michelangelo was doing and not just something I'm making up myself. So I'm constantly looking at that little drawing in the corner, that that sample from the Sistine Chapel, and I'm constantly looking at it and trying to find what it is that I've done wrong, what it is that I've nailed and can move on from. Maybe something isn't quite right in proportion to another thing, so I need to go back and fix that. These are the little kinds of details that I'm trying to pay attention to. Here, I'm just kind of like drawing some lines on the original painting and reflecting those lines on my painting to kind of give me an idea if I got those angles correct. I actually needed to go back and adjust the mouth just a little bit. Also things like the eyebrows or the nostrils. Just make sure it all lines up as it is supposed to. But the thing is that it can be a bit misleading because you don't just line it up in a straight line like this. You have to remember that the plane of the face changes. So like I'm drawing right here, it's kind of like a flat frontal area. And then as you kind of descend into the cheekbones, it kind of becomes a side plane, and the ear is definitely a side plane because your nose faces a different direction than your ear does. So you just kind of have to keep that in mind when you're thinking about how light hits your form and how your eyes line up to your ears and all of these things. Like, it's a structural drawing tip that they don't teach you as a first step, but you really should get used to. For example, if you just want to tilt the face a little bit, you would do something like that. And it's way easier to wrap your head around, I feel, anyway, as opposed to like doing something like this, where it's all based on a circle. Draw a rectangle, draw some lines, some triangles for the nose, draw some more lines, a circle for the ear, get that jawline in there. Try to draw a neck if you can. Apparently I can't draw a neck, but I'm actually gonna like draw under this so you can see the shape clear, but kind of like this. Yeah, that's how a neck looks, maybe. And then When you're looking beneath a figure, you actually see underneath the neck, so you have to draw that connecting bit there as well, the bit from the chin that connects to the neck and sometimes to the Adam's apple and everything. It's kind of like I slit his face off just there, which, I mean, it kind of helps when you're doing the rendering and everything. Mwah! Thanks, Adam. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you found that fun and helpful. I sure did. If you enjoy these videos, please leave a comment, hit a like, or hit a subscribe button. That would be really cool. I'll see you next time. 'Cause this is fun. I enjoy doing this. YouTube's fun. You can also find me on TikTok and Instagram as well, just so you know. Bye!